Hello everyone. So I think you guys are doing okay in this time of critical global pandemic. So well, I thought of utilizing this time for something creative so that I can share some of the stuff that I can do, as my part of my research activity, as part of my learning activity. And I think I can get in touch with the bigger community also out there in the internet through this YouTube channel. So that's why I have started creating this new channel. For those who doesn't know me, I'm Nirmalya Chakravarti. I actually work in a technology firm as an architect, as well as I do some kind of techno-functional role also. I stay in a suburban town named Kachrapara, which is in the province West Bengal, and it's in the eastern side of the country, India. I love learning new technological concepts and architecture, whether it is related to my career or my professional work, or it be related to my hobby or some smart home, IoT, or whatever. So my focus for this channel will be not to repeat the stuff which is already there in the internet, because there are a lot of videos and a lot of information you can already do search. But my focus will be to go through these concepts slowly and have a better understanding of what I'm actually really doing and how it can be more helpful in your projects and in your applications. Let's get started. And I have a whole list of items that I can publish in the coming days. So far, I'm planning to publish 2 videos every month. It can be of any topic. If you have any other topic also which you want me to go through, you can also suggest in the comment section down below. So for today's topic, I'm going to discover about something about Linux containerization. So I hope people who are already in the IT domain, working as a developer or a DevOps engineer, are very well aware of the container concepts. Nowadays, containerization is basically the key part of any DevOps platform, and using tools like Docker and Vagrant, Kimu, and there are a couple of things, these tools are proving to be much more beneficial when it comes to automate the DevOps and the CI/CD pipeline, right? As well as it also helps you to test your applications and run them in a sandbox. So what is Linux containerization? Containerization as a whole means shipping a particular application or a set of application in an isolated environment so that it doesn't impact your overall root system. Uh, so containerization means has to be running in a sandbox. That means it has a kind of security domain that is actually preventing it to be interacting with the root system. So when it comes to testing out secured applications or any application which can be breach into security, it is better to test in a containerized environment rather than installing it directly in your operating system. So there are multiple technologies available in the market right now. So LXC is a pretty, I'll say, not that much well-known tool, because it is very technical and it is only supporting Linux containers. So, but the concept of LXC is pretty much same as you will find in Docker, especially. So, but what are the differences of LXC and other things? I'll have prepared a slide. So let's have a look here. So as you can see, LXC and Docker are pretty much similar, but the thing which I think LXC has an advantage on top of Docker is, first of all, performance. So although Docker, you can say it runs on the native CPU and the native platform, but the performance of LXC is much better than Docker itself. And not to mention, it is the fastest, I believe, among all other tools like Vagrant, VirtualBox, or Kimu. Um, so why is this is so? This is because LXC is using a concept called a chroot or chroot or whatever you want to call it. It's also known as chroot gel. So that means you have, say in your Linux system, you have a set of directories, right? You know that it comes from a root directory, which is front slash, right? You cannot go on top of that. That is the ultimate top point, right? Now, if you are considering the chroot gel concept, that means assume that you are going to create another system inside your current directory tree. So for example, if you have a folder called home slash XYZ and you want to make that home slash XYZ as the root of another system, that means if I log into that system, then if I can, do a level up of cd command, I can go up to that level only. And as a logged in user, I'll not be able to see that as a home slash XYZ. I'll be able to see that as a slash only. That means it's the root. So that means what? It is basically providing a file system level isolation. But what are the other things that LXC provides? So this file system isolation or Chroot is one of the key concepts through which it can provide virtualization, and it is going to run all the systems, the entire operating system. So the other advantage of LXC is whether Docker is actually created keeping in mind that every container of a Docker is basically targeting a particular application or a particular service. So if I have say three service, right, in a multi-tier application, I can create three containers for each microservices, right? So in terms of LXC, it's not that. An LXC container is basically an entire operating system. It's not a specific service. So in that terminology, LXC is very similar to KEMU or VirtualBox or Vagrant, but it has almost 100 times more, I'll say, less resource constraint, right? And it is much faster than any other applications or any other tools, I'll say. So it can provide native level performance, and also it supports the snapshot concept, which is not there in Docker. I have not seen that snapshot concept in anywhere. So, for example, I have a container. It can be a Docker container or it can be an LXC container, right? But that container has some software installed or some kind of configuration, right? Say that container is hosting a database. Now, although the data doesn't stay inside that data, that container, I can create a volume out of that. But if I want to create a version of that container, so that every one day after I can create a separate containers. So that feature is called snapshot, right? So if I have a container running in LXC, I can create a snapshot out of that container, and then I can restore that snapshot. I can create a series of snapshots. So that feature, which I'm going to explain a little bit later, you will see that it is much more beneficial, right, in terms of version management. So version management of container is supported natively in LXC, which is not there in Docker. Apart from that, I have not seen any other difference between LXC and Docker container. They are almost pretty much similar, in terms that Docker is more widely, I'll say, adopted in other service providers. Like you'll see that it is like kind of the key concept being used in AWS or Kubernetes, or in terms of Azure and GCP also, right? But LXC, I think, is also getting little bit of exposure also. I think LXC, the concept of LXC is actually utilized by Docker, and on top of that, they have provided their own set of APIs to make it marketable. And LXC and Docker both are using Go language as their runtime engine. Both have a REST API interface, I'll say. So whenever I can run a Docker command from command line, it is actually being treated as a API to a particular socket, right? So for example, you can say that whenever you run a Docker command, it can be interpreted by the Unix daemon socket, right? Or you can expose the Docker service as a REST API. Similar to that, in LXC also, it has a wrapper on top of that, which is called LXD or LX daemon. So that is the way it can also do integration with other applications. So I can create a container from another application through a REST API or something like that. So I think in terms of LXC and Docker, they go almost neck to neck fight, but LXC has the feature of being much more lightweight and very fast compared to Docker, and it has the version concept of the containers, which I do not find in Docker. So let's see over to the terminal, and I'll showcase some of the concepts that I have listed in the slide. So first of all, what is an LXC image, right? So if you see here, I'm going through all these topics here today. First, I'm going to cover about the LXC image, template, volume, disk, little bit of all this. So let's start. So here in LXC image, an LXC image is basically an operating system as a whole. So whereas a Docker image, you will find a Docker image is basically, it can be an operating system, or it can be an operating system plus a set of customized services to suit your need, right? So here an image will basically represent an entire operating system in LXC, whereas in Docker, an image represents a particular service or a particular application. Say a Docker image of, say, Kafka, or Docker image of anything like Tomcat or MongoDB or whatever, right? So these are applications. Whereas in LXC, you will find find an image which is basically an operating system. It is not specific to a particular application. So let's see what are the image that I can see. So LXC image list, right? So this will list down all the images that I have right now in my local. So I have only one image, which is an Arch Linux image for AMD 64 architecture. So whenever I want to download a new image, similar to Docker, I have a set of repository also available. So you know that in Docker, I have a repository called Docker Hub, through which I can download new images, right? I can also use my private registry, but that's a separate thing. So here in LXC, I also have a similar thing. So LXC, I'll say um, remote list. So this will show me what are the available repositories I'm using to download images, right? So as you can see, the first one is the public repository. So this will contain all the images. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to use Alpine Linux. I'm going to create a container out of Alpine Linux, and then I'm going to create a snapshot. I'm going to test out all the features. So for that part, I need to download that image. So there are two images. I can download the image and create a container out of it in one statement, or I can just download it in local and then create a container later, right? So let's see how I can, download an image and then use it later, right? So for that part, I'm going to search. Let's search what are the available images of Alpine, because Alpine has a different version, right? Different version number. So if I want to see, then I'll use LXC image list, and then I will use this images as the repo URL, right? I'll use this command, and then I'm going to use grep -i of Alpine, right? It is going to take some time, and it's going to list down all the available Alpine image version along with their architecture. So Alpine image for x86 64 architecture, Alpine image for say i386, right? Everything you are going to see now. But here I am running an x86 64 Ubuntu desktop, so I'm going to download only that particular architecture, right? So now as you can see, it has shown all the list, but the first image, if you see here, this image belongs to AMD 64, right? And this is the architecture x86 64 2.4 MB. So I'm going to download this image locally. Then I'm going to create a container out of it, right? So to download that image, what I'm going to do is LXC image. I'll write copy, okay? LXC image, write copy. Then I'll provide the URL, which is images. And for here, I'm going to use Alpine, and then Alpine 3.10 is the version number. Where I'm going to copy, if you see the available, so whenever you do a Docker image download, where it goes to your local Docker repository, right? So here in LXC, I have a local repository. This is known as local by default. So by default, all the image searches are actually targeted from LXC, local. So I'm going to download it to local. So let's download it. As you can see, it is downloading now, copying the image. So it's going to copy the root file system. I'm going to show you all the sections, like what is the root concept here. So once the image is there, I'm going to create a container out of it. Now, when the image is downloading, if you see here, there are two things, like one is called alias and one is called the fingerprint, right? So what is the fingerprint? The fingerprint is basically the, kind of SHA-256, checksum value. So this is uniquely generated and it identifies an image uniquely. But whenever you are going to create a container, you can specify a more user-friendly name out of this. By default, images are not going to have any alias. This is one of the difference between Docker images. So if I see now what are the available images, LXC image list, I'll see this Alpine image getting copied, as you can see, but it doesn't have a alias. So if I want to create a container now, I have to use the fingerprint value, or I can create an alias out of it and then they can refer. So let's go ahead and create an alias, right? So for that part, I can just say LXC image alias, and then I'm going to use a create command. Say what name I'm going to do. Say I'm going to name it as Alpine local, okay? And then I have to provide the fingerprint of this one. So let's provide the fingerprint and now see what are the name of the images. So as you can see, now the image has been aliased with this user-friendly name Alpine local, right? So now let's go ahead and create a container out of this. But before that, let's see what are the available containers. So if I write LXC list is going to show me all the containers. Right now there's no container. So let's go ahead and create a container, LXC launch. So there are two ways of creating container. If I want to just create the container and not start it, then I have to use LXC init. Okay. But if I want to create the container as well as start it, that means start the machine, right? Try to understand the difference. In Docker, you have a particular service that gets started whenever you launch start the container, right? But in LXC, whenever you start the container, it's going to start the operating system, not a specific service, right? I can start tens of services inside that container, right? So if I just use LXC init, it's going to start the machine. I mean, it's just going to create the machine, or I'll say provision the machine, provision the container, but not launch it, right? So let's go ahead and LXC init, and the thing that I'm going to use is the alias of this image, LXC init Alpine local. Then I'm going to name the image, say NC Alpine is the name of the container. Okay, so now it's going to create the container. As you can see, LXC list. If you see, this container is created, but it has not started, right? Now let's start the container, LXC start NC Alpine. So now you will see the container has started. Okay, how much time it is taking? It's absolutely fast, right? So that's the advantage. As you can see, it's running on a native level performance, right? So it is running an Alpine Linux machine. So if you want to log into that machine, there are two ways. See, whenever you run a Docker container, you can execute the Docker exec command and go into the shell out of that. It doesn't have a machine concept. That means it doesn't have an OS concept, right? But here in LXC, each container is basically representing a machine. So either you can log into the shell of that machine, or you can log into as if like you have installed this machine onto the system, right? So let's log into the shelf and see how it executes, right? So for that part, I'm going to use LXC and then exec, right? Name of the container, which is NC Alpine, and then what command I want to execute is the shell command, right? So I have now, as you can see, I'm now part of the shell, right, inside the Alpine Linux, right? Now let's install something, okay? Now, since I'm installing this thing, I want to show you how the networking actually works, right? It is very important. Without the networking, you will not be able to do anything. So by default, the LXC system actually uses something called an LXC bridge, right? So if I use if config, you will be able to see the bridge here, right? You see there's already a network which is an Ethernet network, but this is a virtual network, okay? This is basically called an LXC bridge. So the root operating system that I'm running, Ubuntu here, it is actually creating a virtual network out of that root operating system, and this is named an LXC bridge. So I'll show you that. So whenever I'm going to run a command, say I'm going to ping the Google DNS, say ping something, right? As you can see, I'm getting the response. That means it's connected to internet. So it is actually going through this virtual network, right? So the type of network that other than the virtual network LXC supports, you can pause the video and you can see this comparison chart. You will be able to see that it supports the host networking. It also supports I'll say the user networking, right? It doesn't, I think it also supports the MacVLAN networking, but we'll come to that later, right? So now this container is running. I can do anything. So I can install an application called APK update. Let's do the update. And then let's go ahead and install an SSH server into this, okay? So that I can APK add open SSH. Okay, so I'm installing OpenSSH server here. Fine, and then let's also install a tool called Tmux, APK add Tmux, right? So now I am actually customizing the root Alpine image. I am adding my own set of softwares. I can install a JVM here also. I can install a kind of a database here also. Whatever I want to do, right? So that means the more command I'm going to fire, the more specific this particular VM will become, right? So as a developer, if I want to share my work environment with you, right? The best thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an movable container out of it. I can export this container in a tarball, and then I can share it with you, right? Then you can import it in your local machine and you can test. See how these things is different compared to Docker is, in Docker you are not encouraged to create multiple layers, right? More number of layer you add into the Docker image, it is going to make the Docker container heavy and it is going to be very difficult. But in LXC, you are actually encouraged to have multiple softwares running inside the same container because it is basically a machine equivalent, right? So I can install a bunch of software inside LXC and then I can ship this container as a whole to you, and that's it. You do not need to worry about anything, right? So it's not supporting the microservice concept in that terminology. It's basically kind of thick, but from performance wise it is much better, right? So now let's go ahead and create a file here. So let's say I want to create a file test.txt. Say this is uh, test for snapshot. Okay. So I've created this file. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a snapshot out of this. Okay. So let's come out of this container and see what are the available containers here. LXC list. As you can see, this container is running. Okay. Now let's stop the container. LXC stop NC Alpine. Okay. Now once the container will be stopped, I'm going to create a snapshot out of it. Okay. So let's see if this container right now, if I want to see what are the details of this container, LXC info NC Alpine, right? It is having architecture x86-64, created date, current status, persistent, profiles, default. It doesn't have any snapshot, right? So now let's create a snapshot, LXC. So like it's like I'm creating a backup of this, okay? Snapshot, LXC snapshot, and then name of the container. The name of the container is NC Alpine, okay? Say snapshot Sunday, okay? Now if I want to see the details of this container, I can see that there's a snapshot has been created, right? So if I want to start the container once again, LXC start, right? NC Alpine, right? So now the container has started. It has now it is going to show you all the details, right? How much traffic it is using, the virtual Ethernet, the IP address, the memory, the type of, how much data has been shipped over the virtual Ethernet. So everything, right? So let's go ahead and log into this machine, LXC exec NC Alpine, and then binsh, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this particular file, right? Just to simulate how the snapshot and the restore feature actually works, right? So let's delete the file. The file is deleted, right? Now let's stop the container. LXC stop of NC Alpine. Okay. LXC info NC Alpine. You will see the container is stopped, but it is having a snapshot. See, right now, the current version of the container, which is on top of snapshot, doesn't have the file test.txt because I have deleted it. If I want to restore it, right? So if I want to restore it, I have to use the restore command. So this is the feature which I think is not available in Docker. You can do it using versioning concept, but out of the box, I think this is a very cool feature, right? So if I want to see LXC restore and then name of the container NC Alpine and then the snapshot name, which is snapshot Sunday. Okay. So now, so it is like a, your, Git kind of Git check-in history, right? So your head is now pointing to the snapshot. Okay. Now if I see LXC list, the container is stopped. It has one snapshot. But now whatever I'm going to do, it's not going to affect the snapshot. The snapshot is like a tag of the Git check-in, right? It is a separate thing. It is read-only. It is never going to be modified. So if I start the container, LXC start NNC Alpine, I'll be able to see the file test.txt. So LXC exec nc Alpine of bin sh, right? See, the file is present. So this is how the snapshot feature is actually working, which I think pretty cool, right? Now, there are pretty much simple other commands also, which is available. Like if you want to see what are the available options provided by LXC, you can see a bunch of options. Like you can create the container, you can delete the container and whatever, right? So one of the cool thing that I'm going to show you how I can export the current container as an image, right? So remember, this is similar to your saving or committing a particular container to an image in terms of Docker. So if you are from Docker background, you know that if you want to save the current state of the container, right, you have to create an image out of that container, and then that image can be shipped to another machine or another, colleague, and then he or she can use it, right? So the concept is pretty much same here. So for that part, let's see what are the images that I have once again. So I have this base version of Alpine, right? So this is the base version of Alpine, which is coming from the LXA repository, right? It has only the base Alpine. It doesn't have anything, right? Now, whatever I have done, I have installed the SSH server and I have also installed the application Tmux. So the image that I have right now, which is LXC list, if I want to see, this image is basically something on top of the base Alpine OS image, right? So I want to create a custom image out of that. So to do that, what I have to do is I need to publish this particular container as an image, right? So this is similar to saving a particular container as an image in terms of Docker. So how do you want to do it? So if I want to save the container, so it will say LXC publish, right? LXC publish and then name of the container, which is NC Alpine, okay? And then which image name I want to give it, right? So I want to give it NC Alpine custom, okay? So container is running, I have to force it. So let's better not run it on while the container is running. Let's better stop the container. So LXC stop NC Alpine. I can use the force, but let's go ahead and stop the container and then start it. Now, if I want to publish it, now you will see a new image is created, which is locally available. This image is not going to your public Docker, your LXC repository, right? So if you want to see LXC image list, right, you will see this custom image has been created, right? NC Alpine custom, right? I have not provided any description, that's why it is empty, but that's okay. You will see the size difference, 6.87. That means it has something on top of the base Alpine image, right? Now, if I want to export that image, right, I have to create a tarball, right? So let's go ahead and create a tarball. So LXC image, and then I have to export this image, which is NC Alpine custom, right? And where I want to export it, say I want to export it to home NC work, and then name of the tar file, say inc alpine custom, and then tar. Okay, so image exported successfully. Let's see. As you can see, it has around 6.9 megabyte of size, right? So now I can, export this container to somebody else, and then he or she can import it and test it, right? So what is this file? If I want to see, this is basically, I think it's a zip file also. So it's basically a ggif file. It's also compressed data, right? So now let's go ahead and delete the container and delete the image and import it as if I have nothing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first delete the container, which is LXC NC list. So LXC, let's delete the container. LXC delete NC Alpine. Okay. Do I have any image? No, I do not have any image. So now delete the images also. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete the custom image as well as the root image. So I'll be having no trace of any Alpine image, right? So LXC image, and then I'm going to remove. So here I'm going to use delete command. Let's use the aliases, okay? And I don't think whether it's going to take two images. Yeah, it has taken both the commands. So LXC image list now. It has only that Arch Linux image. Fine. So I have already this image backed up as a tar file, right? Let's import this image now, right? So LXC image import, right? LXC image import, and then I'm going to provide the file name. Now it's going to import it from the tar file to my local LXC image repository, right? So if I see LXC image list, I can see that image is present, right? As you can see, right, by default I mentioned that images do not have any alias name. So now I can create an alias out of this, or I can just go ahead and create the container. So that way it will be working fine, right? So here I have shown you the basic concepts of how to create a container, how to download the image, how to back up the image, how to do a snapshotting of the image, right? So I think this should be pretty much fine. So some of the other concepts that you will use, like how you can copy a file from a container to your local. So for that part, you have a command called lxc file if you want to see these details. So using this lxc file command, you can do a cherry picking, like you can copy a particular file from your local to the LXC container and vice versa. This is similar to your Docker copy command also. Now, the other thing that is very crucial is the LXC bridge networking, right? So if you want to see before I go on to the networking part, I want to highlight a little bit about the storage option, right? So what is the storage concept here, right? So for that part, I think I can tell you about this LXC storage, right? So here things go a little bit different compared to Docker. So if you see in Docker, what will happen is Docker provides something called a storage driver, right? That means it is going to use that driver for managing every images, every container, everything on your machine, right? But here, what LXC is having, it's having something called a storage, or I'll say a profile, I'll say. Okay. So by default, it has a default profile and a default storage option called uh, just named as default. Okay. Here, the advantage is it can use multiple type of storage drivers. So if you are familiar with storage options like BTRFS file system or EXTFS file system, right? So I think let's go to the PPT and show you. So what are the storage options that LXC provides? LXC provides BTRFS, which is the B tree file system, which provides the directory only. That means you can specify that whatever image or whatever container I'm using, it is going to be located inside that particular directory only. The problem of using directory system is you cannot put a maximum check. That means I do not want container sizes or container limits to go beyond say 10 GB or something, right? If you know that in Docker you have a concept called Docker machine size. If you want to open the Docker config.json, you will see if you do a Docker info, you will see the Docker machine size. That means uh, whatever the image or container, any image or container cannot go beyond that size. This is generally, I think, around 10 GB of the size. But here in LXC, you can do similar thing. That means you can use the directory or BTRFS file system. So whenever I have installed LXC, I have created a default storage pool, which is basically having Btrfs file system, and it is actually creating an image file. So this is like a flat file. If you see, this is basically a flat file. You can see this file also. So if you see this file, uh, It is basically around 2 GB, 1.9 GB size. Okay. So this location default.img contains all the images, all the files. This is, stored inside this, right? If I see here, you will see that this image is actually mapped as a loop file. Okay. So lsblk grep, and then I'll see default img. You will see that this is basically a loop file. Okay. This is basically a loop file, loop 18. Okay. And this loop 18 is actually mounted in a particular location, which is varlib lxd default storage pool. Okay. So let's go ahead inside that and see what are the contents. As you can see, whatever containers, whatever custom images, whatever snapshots that I have created is actually stored inside this particular image file, and this image file cannot go beyond 1.9 GB, right? So that way I can prevent the user to not, exhaust the entire disk space, right? Now I can switch between multiple, profiles. So if you see here, say in LXC profile, right? If you see LXC profile, and then I'm going to go list of that. By default, I'm using the default profile. Okay. I do not have any container. That's why it's showing used by 0. Okay. But if I want to go with the LXC storage options, LXC storage info default, I'll be able to see, sorry, I'll be able to see what are the, how much space is used, right? So this 1.9 GB space that I mentioned, right, is being utilized by 2. What is this 2? Right? These two are basically these two images. As you can see, I have one image here, right? And the other one is this profile, which is the default profile, right? So storage option is used by a profile. I can create another storage option, and then I can use another profile, right? So that means it's like a context switching, right? I can create, say for my production environment. Let's not go to the production, let's go for the development environment. I have a profile. Okay. There I have 3 images and 3 containers running. Now for the QA environment or the integration environment, I have another profile, and there I have created 2 more images. So this way I can actually group the images also. This is another difference compared to Docker, right? In Docker, whatever image that you have downloaded in your local machine, right? You can use Docker pull and then download the images, but everything will be inside the same storage quota, right? The storage quota, underlying storage quota is not different. Everything is going to be dumped into the same bucket. You can use the image name and the, image tag to identify, but that will not be fundamentally different, right? So here LX is providing much more, advanced options to you to actually group the images. So I can create one profile for each and every individual, environment, and that is going to help me much, better to isolate the, applications, right? Say if I want to have maximum 10 GB for development environment related components, right? And I can have maximum, say 5 GB for integration, right? So this way I can, manipulate the things much better. So that is, I think, one of the, far more advantage of, using LXC containers. So I think overall, I have, highlighted all the things. Now, before I, end up this video, let's go ahead and, take a look into the LXC networking part. So I mentioned that whenever I use LXC, it's going to create a bridge network, right? So let's see what are the network that I have right now. So if I use, if config, I can see this LXD bridge 0, right? There's also a network called LXC bridge 0. You do not consider this because I have used it differently. That was created when I used only LXC command, not the LXD. For LXD, this is the bridge that is going to be used. So it is basically creating a bridge between what? It is going to create a bridge between my Wi-Fi network here and to the container, right? It is going to connect these two using this bridge network. If you want to see the configuration of this bridge network, I think you can open the LXC configuration file. So the LXC configuration file is etc, and then default, I think it's LXC net. So this is the network configuration file of LXC. And here, as you can see, it is using the bridge network. The bridge network name is LXC bridge 0. As the address starts from this one, the network, net mask, and everything is all the other details as there, right? So if I see the containers available here, what are the containers that I have? LXC list. Um, let's go ahead a container and show me the configuration. Okay, LXC create. Okay, let's create a container once again. So uh, mm, LXC launch. Do I have the image now? LXC image list. Oh, I have the image. So LXC create. I'll say launch directly. I say LXC launch. The name of the image, which is this one. Okay, and Alpine custom. Okay. So I'm going to create a container. I'm going to show you how the network configuration is, crafted for this particular container. So if I see LXC list, I have this container. So LXC info of Alpine custom. Okay. So here the bridge network is already configured, but where is the location of the container? Where is the location of the container data? Okay. So for that part, you have to check this var leave LXD, and here you will see all the containers, right? And you will see the container, I think the name of the container is Alpine custom. Yeah, Alpine custom. And here you will see the root file system. So remember, at the beginning of the video I mentioned that everything that you run in LXC is based on the chroot jail concept. That means it has a folder inside the root file system of the root machine. That means my root OS machine. Inside that I have a folder which is basically acting as a topmost folder of that container. So whatever is there inside the root FS, if I do an ls now, whatever files you are going to see, that is going to be the file system of that container, right? So this is another difference between Docker. In Docker, you will not be able to see this kind of file system. It is actually masked. If you see the varlib Docker, it is there, but it is actually masked. You will not be able to see that in direct way. Okay. So if I see this, this is, if you see, this is the entire operating system, this file system hierarchy, not the operating system, the file system hierarchy of that, Alpine container, right? So this way I can actually, if I want to copy any file directly, I can do it pretty much easily, right? There's also concept of volume, which maybe I can explain in later video, but things are similar, okay? And if I want to see the configuration, so if you see the configuration, like you can see the metadata configuration. So here you will see the host names and all the other details, which is there, okay? The metadata configuration, right? So let's see what are the other available options that I have. I can see the configuration also. So LXC config. Can I see the configuration of this machine? NC Alpine. So LXC config, and then manage container metadata files. LXC config metadata, and then do another help. Let's see. Config metadata show container metadata. NC Alpine. I hope that works. Error not found. Show default. No, I think there's no metadata for this particular container. So, uh, but for this particular bridge, if you want to see, you can go inside the container always. LXC exec minus and then NC Alpine. And if you run binsh, LXC, LXC list, Alpine custom is the name, right? You can always go ahead and see these details. If you want to modify this bridge network, you have to modify using the this file like var lib whatever I have shown you, like this file var I think it's uh, var lib lxt, or else it's default lxcnet. Yeah, through this file you can change the network configuration, right? So another thing that you may notice is there is something called persistent mentioned here. So what is a persistent? Persistent containers means whenever the container is stopped, it is going to be there, right? There is another type of container which is basically called ephemeral container. So these containers are kind of temporary container. The moment they are stopped, it is going to be removed automatically from the system. So in Docker also, if you see, you have this kind of concept. So these kind of things that go pretty much, neck to neck. If you want to run a ephemeral container command in Docker, you will run Docker and then provide the -rm flag, right? So that way you can do it. But here, if you want to create an a container which is not persistent, you can create it, I think, using -e. So lxc, if you want to create init, and then I think, yeah, if I specify this -e option, it is going to create. So lxc create, right? I'm going to just let's launch it directly, okay? lxc image list. So I'm going to create another container of this custom image, right? This one, but that will be an ephemeral container, okay? So lxc launch, right? lxc launch, name of the image. Come on, where is the mouse? Okay, name of the mouse. So say Alpine ephemeral, okay? And then I'm going to provide the -e option, okay? So now if you see lxc list, you'll be able to see the container is running, but this is ephemeral. So I can log into this machine, right? I can log in into ls exec, and then uh, name of the machine like Alpine ephemeral, right? binsh. I think let's copy the name, cexec, right? It's there, right? Just because I have used it for the from the custom image, it still have the test.txt, but it's there, okay? Now if I stop this image, you will see the container. If I stop the container, you will see this image container is automatically deleted. So let's stop the container once again. lxc list. Let's stop the container, and you will see that the container is automatically deleted, right? Because it's an ephemeral container. So lxc stop, and okay, let's see. Now if I want to see, there's no container, right? So it is automatically deleted. So that's the concept of ephemeral container. That means if you want to do something, really short-term processing or anything, you can use those type of ephemeral container. So guys, I think you have learned a little bit of Linux containerization so far from this video. I have tried to cover only the brief details because otherwise the video will be pretty long. There are still many things that you can explore on your own. For example, how LXC actually integrates with the cloud providers. So for Docker, you might have already used Kubernetes, Azure, and AWS and all these kind of things. But for LXC, you also have a, cloud provider called Open Nebula, which is supporting LXC containers out of the box. So you can always go through it. And if you have any questions regarding whatever I have shown, or if you have any suggestions, please provide in the comment section down below. And thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and keep subscribed to my channel. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye bye.